Bluetooth connected.
He nigga couldn't try me in a tri-state. Muddy pass, but I give him splash till he hydrated. Down south, know he spook town, eyes dilated. I got the money and the power, both gyrating. I feel good, get the fuck out my thighs. Look good, but she don't got no ties. I walked in, walked out with the size. Man, don't let me know what the price. What the fuck? I got hits, I got bucks, I got new paper cuts, I got friends, I got foes, but they all sitting ducks. Hit his turf and get cracking, double back like a deluxe. 50 deep, but it ain't deep enough. Fuck a pig, there you go, beat him up. Falling from a money tree, and it grew throughout the month. Spit a loogie at the camera, speed off, yes, us. I feel good, get the fuck out my thighs. Look good, but she don't got no ties. I walked in, walked out with the size. Man, don't let me know what the price. Squabble up. Squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up. Hold up, where you from? My bitch, I'm finna go dumb. Sideways, bump stomp, fever, I'm on one. Baby, rockin' it. Quid pro quo, what you want, cause I'm watching it. Work on the flow, let me know if you clocking it. Brody won't go, but I know that he popping it. It was wolf tickets on sale till I silenced it. Pipe down, young, be some hoe with the politics. Bitch with him and some bitch in him, that's a lot of bitch. Don't hit him, he got kids with him, my apologies. Ghetto child, here was Blackie Mouse with the Smirnoff. High, we outside, boy, they about to kill him off. Blaps on blaps, it's a fact, this a breaker off. Tell me why the fuck you niggas rap if it's fictional. Tell me why the fuck you niggas fed if you criminal. Hey, Dot, can I get a drop? I'm like, nigga, nah. H-Moon coon from the west side to Senegal. It's a full moon, let the wolves out, I've been a dog. I feel good, get the fuck out my thighs. Look good, but she don't got no ties. I walked in, walked out with the size. Man, don't let me know what the price. Squabble up, squabble up, squabble up.
All right, all right. It's your brother Isaiah tapping in with another one for all the conscious brothers and sisters in the conscious community. Keeping the struggle, because we most definitely know that it's through the struggle that we grow. Also, I like to say that it is, in fact, a slow process for progress, and that the race has never been to those who are swift. It's always been to those who remain dutiful. So make sure you stay in this journey for the long haul. You guys already know that I don't offer legal advice. I'm not a legal counsel. I'm not an attorney. I'm just your brother. I just share with you education and information about my walks, my travels, throughout my journey called life. I like to extend these honors to you, because when you honor man and you honor woman, you most definitely honor yourself. I like to give adoration to the Most High, head, temple of my life, and extend that same love, courtesy, and acknowledgement to all of his messengers and prophets. Peace to you, beloved brothers and sisters in grand rising, to all of those that are awaking in this day and time. Today, I had something that I was looking at, in my notes, and I wanted to kind of go over what I was studying to help, because like I said, I got a lot I do have a lot of information over here. So let me see. Let me see where I want to start. Okay, make sure you like, you subscribe, share out the live so other people can be aware that I'm going live. So let me pull some up. Let me see if I can find it. And it's crazy because I was just looking at it and then it just kind of like just disappeared off the phone somehow, which is weird. Uh, just trying to see if I can find it. I probably ain't gonna be able. Yeah, I probably ain't gonna be able to find it. You know how it be when you trying to show somebody something. And I just had it too. Let me see. I might be able to find it. Man, every time you come down here, you just get to make it noise. Go in there somewhere. It's like you do the shit on purpose. Okay. So y'all have to bear with me. I'm gonna have to I might have to go a different route because let me see if I can find it one more time. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't want me to show y'all this app. Oh man. Mm. All right, well, forget it then. Since I find it another day. All right, so I'm gonna take y'all to another app. Hell with it. We're gonna go to another app. See, I ain't gonna say. I'm gonna say I had something on my phone, and I got it saved in my notes, but I got so much information that I got saved up that it's hard for me to find certain stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I got so much to filter through. information that I've studied, found, saved, and just put to the side. So I got my own personal library. You know how the dude that just passed away, when he was going to upload his library and everything that he had online for the public to. I need to do the same thing because I got an extraordinary library over here with information that's unbelievable. Like I can't make it up. I can't make it up. But let me share my screen. Okay, we're gonna go here. See, because I like to introduce you to stuff that maybe some of you have heard. If you've been following me, you may have heard of some of these things. But if not, some of these things may not, make as much sense. But as we read through it, I'm gonna try to shed some light, on the concept. So we're reading the Consumer Installment Loan Act. All right, because and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with what a consumer installment loan is, right? So they got an act pretty much for all these different things that we deal with on a daily basis. So all right, so it's a license required to engage in business. No person, partnership, association, limited liability company, or corporation shall engage in the business of making loans of money and charge or contract for or receive any such loan a greater annual percentage rate than 9% of it, right? Except as authorized by the Act after the first obtaining a license from the Director of Financial Institutions, hereinafter called the Director. No licensee or employee or affiliate thereof that is licensed under the Payday Loan Reform Act shall obtain a license under this act, except that a license under the Payday Loan Reform Act may obtain a license under this act for the exclusive purpose in the use of making title secured loans. See, when they get these licenses, they make what's called title secured loans. Okay, as defined in subsection A of section 15 of the Act governed by Title 38, section 110.300 of the Illinois Administrative Code. For the purposes of this section, affiliate means any person or entity that is directly or indirectly controls or is controlled by or shares control with another person or entity. A person or entity has control of another if the person or the entity has ownership interest of 25% or more in another. A person or entity licensed to prove educational income shares agreements exempt from this requirement. So these are the requirements, right? So they got to have a license in order to sell contracts, right? I'm gonna go down some, right? Investigation, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of this, all money to receive, the director, person, or the entity doing business. All right, so all of this, because I'm trying to scroll through it, it's talking about the license that they have to have. All right. It's talking about if their license get suspended. This is like for somebody who's trying to become a dealer or something, and they want to know like what the requirements are in order for them to sell consumer contracts. They'll come in there and read this, right? And this is telling them like the license, what's required, all of that. But I want to show you something. All right, closing of the business, surrender of the license. So if they close the business, they got to surrender their license. It's basically telling you everything that they got to do. Notify the department of this action in writing, blase, blase. All right, an investigation of conduct of business for the purposes of discovering violations of the act or surrendering information lawfully required by it. The director may at any time investigate the loan of a business and examine their books, right? Look, I'm gonna show you something. The director of finance, okay, when you're dealing with like a dealership or anybody that offers installment loan contracts, right? Now I'm gonna read something to you. Investigation of the conduct of a business. for the purposes of discovering violations of this act or securing information lawfully required by it. The director may at any time investigate loans and businesses and examine their books, accounts, records, and files used therein of every licensee and of every person, partnership, association, limited liability company, and corporation engaged in the business described in Section 1 of this Act, whether such person, partnership, association, limited liability company, or corporation shall act or claim to act as principal or agent within or without the authority of this Act for such purposes, the director shall have free access to the offices and the places of business, books, accounts, papers, records, files, safes, and vaults of such person, partnership, association, limited liability company, and corporations. The director may require the attendance of the examined of an examination under oath all persons whose testimonies he or she may require related to the loan of such business. In such case, director shall have the power to administer oaths to all persons called as witnesses, and the director may conduct such examination, right? It says the director shall make an examination of the affairs, business, office records of each licensee at the licensee at least once a year. The director shall, by rules and regulations, set a fee to be charged for each examination day, including travel expenses for out-of-state licensed locations. The fee shall reasonably reflect the actual cost. The director shall also have authority to examine books, records of any business made by former licensee, which is being liquidated as the director deems necessary, right? All right, now in here, it tell you, maybe I passed it up, but in here, it tell you that the director of insurance is the power of attorney for each licensee. That's what gives him the rights. He's like their successor. So what he could do, he could come in like, say if I got an issue with a dealer, say a dealer gave me a loan of interest and he disclosed to me the amounts and the scheduled dates to receive my amounts, and then defaulted and started trying to act like he was going to collection, like he a debt collector, and tried to collect the amounts rather than provide them as approved balances, like he said, I can file a complaint against that dealership for non-payment. And instead of going directly to the dealer with the complaint, I can go directly to the director of insurance, because the director of insurance is their power of attorney. I'm trying to find it in here so I can show it to you. All right, because it's in this act. If you go in here and take your time and read it, it'll tell you that the director of insurance acts as their power of attorney. Let's see if I can find it. So pretty much, the director has all the power to hold them accountable, because he licensed them to be able to sell loans and collect interest on any unpaid balance of a loan. So any violations of their license, insurance license, anything like that, their sales license, you can go directly to the director against them. All right, so they kind of tell you how the loans go. So it tells you right here, with respects to interest-bearing loans, interest shall be computed on unpaid principal balances, outstanding, right, from the time from time to time. So the principal balances are the due balances that are applicable toward the loan. And anytime any due balance is outstanding toward the loan, right, they can collect on it from time to time from an outstanding until fully paid. Each payment shall be applied first to the accumulated interest. So like when you take a check and you make a payment, you're paying principal, right? But when you pay with the check, the first payment goes toward the interest, meaning the interest is what they pay first, and then the remainder of the payment is applied to the unpaid principal balance. So what they're saying is, let's say for instance, like you get approved for a loan, and when you get approved for the loan, it's a $50,000 loan, and then you got a due balance of 12 monthly installments that start off at $300 and something a month. Okay. Now, say you default. If you default, that $300 every month for the 12 months, that becomes the amount you owe first. Meaning you got to pay that $300 and something each month plus 12 times 12 first before you can pay off the principal amount that they gave it to you for. Because they gave you that 300 times 12 to use to pay off the instrument with. But since you didn't know how to use it, now that 300 that's due every month times 12 is what you owe first. So every time you pay, your payment goes toward that 300 times 12 first before it goes toward the actual note that you were supposed to have been using it for. So that's basically what they're saying, okay? That's why some people can be paying on a loan that was only $5,000 and they end up paying $15,000, $20,000 on a $5,000 loan because of the accumulated interest and how interest accumulates. To the interest becomes so big to the point to where you're paying all interest payments to where you can't even get to the principal because the interest then compounds so big that every payment is a payment of interest. And interest is unlawful because interest is, according to law, you're only dealing with a principal balance. So if they give you a $50,000 loan, by law, you only got $50,000 that you're dealing with. Anything over $50,000 is excessive collections because they only allowed to receive what the contract said that we had. So if 50,000 was the amount issued, 50,000 should be only the amount retained. So if the lender has any amount over that amount, that means that he's doing some type of excessive collection practices against you. All right. Because he's only dealing with a certain amount of money. And the remainder of the payment applied to the unpaid principal balance of the provided, however, that if the amount of the payment is insufficient to pay the accumulated interest, the unpaid interest continues to accumulate to be paid from the proceeds of the subsequent payments and is not added to the principal balance. So it's saying that if you default, right, that amount of payment is insufficient to pay the amount that's accumulating every month. So when you get a contract every month, when you see those amounts due, those amounts that's already pre-scheduled, that you already know that you say you owe already, those are interest payments. Those are not cash payments. You're dealing in financing. So whenever you're dealing in financing, interest is the accumulated balances that are pre-computed as the amounts that are applicable to the principal agreement. Whenever you receive a principal loan, the due balances is the interest. Principal and interest run hand in hand. Whenever you receive principal, interest runs from principal. Okay? You ain't feeling me though. You ain't feeling Brother Isaiah. I'm trying to help you out. The unpaid interest continues to accumulate to be paid. So if you don't pay the interest toward the note like it's supposed to be paid, the interest continues to run. Every month it accumulates and gets bigger and bigger. And you think you're paying your note off, but you're really not paying off the note. What you're paying is accumulating interest. And all those payments you make don't even go toward the actual note at all. Interest shall not be payable in advance or compounded. However, if part or all of the consideration for a new loan contract is unpaid principal, balance or of a prior loan, the principal loan amount payable under the new loan contract may include an unpaid interest, which has occurred. The unpaid principal balance of a pre-computed loan is the balance due after the refund or credit of an unearned interest. See, when you get a loan, right, the principal is the balance that the agreement got on its face. So if you got an instrument in your hand and it says $50,000, that's the principal. That's the amount that they're loaning you. They're giving you an instrument as principal. Principal comes in the form of a check or instrument, right, which transfers value to you. All right, usually the value you're receiving as principal is stated in the instrument. So if the instrument is 50,000 and it's saying that your loan amount is 50,000, that instrument that you sign is a $50,000 loan. That means that that instrument is worth $50,000. Okay. Now, the reason why it's considered as unpaid principal, even though they're issuing the principal balance to you, because according to law, let me show you something. I got to help my people out because Lord knows how people need help, right? Let me show you something. And make sure y'all hit the like, subscribe, share. Don't just be sitting here just listening to me. All right. Make sure you sharing and giving back of what I'm talking about. Okay, because I'm gonna show you something. Okay. I ain't never seen it to where they try everything. God dang, man. All right. So I'm just gonna have to take you out here and show it to you, right? So, all right, so let me jump back to where I was at, right? So, all right, so when we say right here, the unpaid principal balance of a pre-computed loan. So when you get a loan from a lender, all right, the principal balance is the amount that's written on the face of the instrument. So it's just like having a Federal Reserve note or a $2 bill or a $20 bill in your hand. That instrument is worth its value on its face. Okay. So when you sign it, you're holding that amount in your hand at that time. And that amount is called principal. Okay. Usually the principal balance of your loan is the full balance of the total amount due for the total loan. Okay. So when you receive the principal, you receive an instrument and it states the total amount that you are receiving. So the total amount of this instrument is $50,000, but it also has an unpaid pre-computed balance that has not been applied yet, but it's pre-computed as part of the balance that's being disclosed to you at the time of signing. So when you sign, there's a pre-computed unpaid balance attached that they say that you owe. Okay? Now, most people don't understand why you owe it. Now, the reason why the instrument is considered as the principal balance and the due balance that they say you owe is the unpaid principal. It's the unpaid principal balance. It's the unpaid balance of your principal note, meaning the amount due is the amount that your note is supposed to use to be paid. So that unpaid balance is what you need to use to pay off the note, but it's unpaid, and it's unpaid toward the note itself. So the note is the principal and the balance due is unpaid towards it. So the unpaid principal is the unpaid balance of the note, the due balance that's unpaid. Okay? So now when you say unpaid principal, you know what it's talking about. It's talking about the due balances that you owe that have not been applied toward the note yet, even though they've been approved and you've received the amount, the principal and the due balances. You receive both of them at the same time, but one balance has to be applied toward the other in order to liquidate the instrument. Right now, why is, if you're applying for a loan and you're receiving a principal balance that you're supposed to use to pay with, why is it saying that the principal balance is unpaid balance, but it's a pre-computed loan? So when you get the loan, the amounts that you're receiving are pre-computed. It's telling you these are your amounts and these are the dates that your amounts will be made applicable toward this contract, right? And it says right here is the balance due. See that? The unpaid principal balance of a pre-computed loan is the balance due after refund or credit of unearned interest as provided in paragraph F of this section. The resulting loan contract shall be deemed a new and separate loan transactions for all purposes, right? So the reason why they're saying that when they issue you the loan, the amount that's due, that's pre-computed, that's they saying this is the amounts you owe, that's already scheduled in. You already know the amounts of your loan amounts that you owe, right? That's pre-computed. These are the amounts you already receive, and these are the amounts you owe us. The reason why it's unpaid is because of this. Let me show you. Let me show you. Right here. Here it is right here. I can't make it up. So this right here, deposit. The term deposit means the unpaid balance of money or its equivalent received or held by a bank or a savings association in the usual course of business, right? And for which it has given or is obligated to give credit, right? Either conditionally or unconditionally, right? To a commercial checking, savings, time, or drift account. So the reason why the principal balance of your loan is unpaid is because when you sign that instrument over to that company, you're making a deposit. All right, what are you depositing? You're depositing two balances. Principal is the instrument, and the unpaid due balance is the interest that should be applied and credited toward the note. Once it's just like depositing a check from my job, and then a day later I get and then that same day I see that credit in my account. that matches the amount of the check my job gave me. Well, if I get a loan from a lender and I deposit the loan and the amount is due, I would like to see that amount credited into my account exactly the exact same way, right? So when you enter into an agreement with a lender and he provides you with a loan agreement, he's not giving you that for you to say you owe him. He's giving you that because that instrument is you're going to deposit that instrument with him. And a deposit, every deposit generates a credit. The credits that you are expecting to receive from depositing the item is every due balance. Every due balance is what you expect to receive as credit from depositing the item. Because when you deposit that with them, you might not see it as a deposit. You might just see it as a transfer. You might just say, I just signed it over, but you're depositing that item to that institution. And when you deposit, it generates and accumulates an amount that accumulates on a 30-day basis all the way into the fulfillment of that item. That item has 30-day intervals of credit balances that were pre-computed at the time of the deposit to the institution. The reason why it's unpaid is because the deposit itself is an unpaid balance in which they're required to give you credit for. So that's the reason why whenever now look, when you read this and it says an unpaid balance of money or its equivalent to money is currency, a Federal Reserve note, a money order, a draft, an installment loan, a lease. All that is considered as equivalent to money, received or held by a bank or a savings institution in the usual course of its business, right? In which they're obligated to give credit. So all these institutions are required to give you credit whenever they receive a deposit of information from you. So if you open up an account with any company, that initial deposit that you made with the company is unpaid, meaning the company is required by law to give you credit for the information that you're providing to them to service you. So every month they have to bill you a due balance. Now, you might not understand that a bill is money. In your mind, you might think that it's not money. But let me show you something. Watch this. They laughing at you every time you go to work. You know? Now look, I asked Google a simple question. This is very simple because law is very simple. It's not complex. I say, Google, when a bill is due, is it payable? Yes, when a bill is due, it is also payable, meaning the creditor can demand payment immediately. This obligation arises from various agreements such as loans or service contracts. Wait a minute. So wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that when I receive a due bill, I'm receiving something that's payable to me? Because it's saying that the obligation is due to me. So if due and payable are inexchangeable, so this bill is really a bearer instrument. It's an instrument payable to the bearer because it's due to the bearer. If it's due to the bearer, it's payable to the bearer. Then that means it's a what? It's a bearer instrument. Now, let's look this up. Because I gotta be certain, man. I can't, we gotta be certain today. Let's look this up. Hold up. Y'all gonna talk to Brother Isaiah today. Instrument. I spelled it, man. I might put a little too much. All right, so a bearer instrument is a financial document that entitles the holder to receive payment. or enforce the instrument simply by possessing it, without the need for endorsement or registration. This type of instrument includes checks, bonds, and promissory notes that are payable, right, to the bearer or cash, right? So a bearer instrument is an instrument that's already burned on its face that the amount stated in the instrument is due and provided for the means of a specific person, which makes it a bearer instrument. It's payable on its face, meaning that it's settled just by delivery alone, just by you taking the instrument and sending it into your bank. You ain't got to sign it. It's a bearer instrument. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't, it entitles the holder to receive payment, right? Bearer instruments are financial documents that represent ownership of a sums or an asset and are payable to whoever holds the document. They enable the transfer by possession alone. See? By possession alone, without an endorsement or notification to the issuer. The guide explains what bearer instruments are and how they operate within the U.S. law, typically risk and the best practice for safekeeping and use. It says bearer instrument is a negotiable instrument that entitles the holder to payment or delivery simply by possessing it. Unlike registered or other instruments, there is no named payee who must endorse the document. Common examples include bearer bonds or bearer checks and certain types of bearer certificates. Ownership transfers automatically with possession. So let me ask Google a question. Watch this. Why? I'm gonna show you how. I'm gonna show you how, like, when you understand what it's saying and you ask the right questions, right? Hey, I don't know if it's gonna show y'all in this one. Let me see. I might have to reshare it. Dang, I ain't gonna show y'all on this one. All right. So we talking about bearer instrument. I'm gonna ask a question. So I have to ask you the question. Oh man, let me see. All right, so I asked Google a specific question. All right, so we know a bearer instrument is an instrument burned on its face that an amount stated in the instrument is payable to a particular person described within the instrument. Now, when something is due, it is also payable. Indirectly, somebody can be paying you, but they're using it in an indirect way. So instead of me saying, like, let me give you an example. Uh, uh, a demand is a request. So instead of me saying, hey, we request that you come down and you sign up for our program, or we'll say, we use demand. This is a demand that if you don't show up and you don't, but it's a demand is also considered as a request. If you Google it, demand and requests are inexchangeable. So when somebody's demanding you, they're requesting. When they're requesting, they're also making a demand. So it's the same thing when you deal with a bill when it comes through the mail. When somebody's saying that something is due to you, they're actually saying this is payable to you. Indirectly, they're using the other side of the coin in order to speak to you from a different perspective in which they know that you don't comprehend. So you look at it as due and you take it as something due for you to perform, when really it's saying this is payable. This amount is payable to you for this month for your services. And because you don't understand it, you read it wrong. So let me tell you what I asked it. I said, if an instrument is sent to the drawer E as due, is that a bearer instrument, right? It says a bearer instrument is a type of instrument that allows the holder to receive payment simply by possessing it without needing an endorsement. This means that any instrument sent to the drawer E as due can be considered as a bearer instrument if it meets specific criteria. You see what I'm saying? Then you come down here, it get to talking about it didn't take me where I thought it was going to take me. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? No. Okay. All right, let me stop right here, man. Let me get off of here so I can attend to some of the things I need to take care of, right? But and overall, what I want you to understand is that a bearer instrument is an instrument that is payable to the bearer. So I'm gonna show you one more thing before I go, just to kind of make it a little bit more simplistic for you. Okay. So It says transfer of an instrument's rights acquired by transfer. An instrument is transferred when it is delivered by the person other than its issuer for the purposes of giving the person receiving delivery the rights to enforce it. So the issuer is the company. Why we call the company the issuer? Because when you get a bill or anything from any company, it always got an issue date on it, showing the date that is issued and the date that is due on. So the issuer is always the one who issues the instrument, okay? I didn't want to help you out a little bit because a lot of people haven't actually matured enough to understanding these concepts, right? So an instrument is transferred when it is delivered by the person other than the issuer for the purposes of giving the person receiving delivery the rights to enforce the instrument. So any instrument you receive that's issued to you is issued to you to give you a right to enforce it, to use it to enforce payment, okay? Because in this day and time, we don't use cash. We use negotiable instruments as a means, as a cash equivalent. Transfer of an instrument, whether or not the transfer is a negotiation, vests in the transferee any rights of the transferor to enforce the instrument, including any rights as a holder in due course. But the transferee cannot acquire rights of a holder in due course by transfer directly or indirectly from a holder in due course if the transferee engaged in fraud or illegally affecting the instrument, unless otherwise agreed. If an instrument is transferred for value, right, and the transferee does not become a holder because of a lack of endorsement, right, by the transferor, the transferee has a specifically enforceable right to an unqualified endorsement of a transferor, but negotiation of the instrument does not occur until the endorsement is made. If the transferor purports to transfer less than the entire instrument, negotiation of the instrument does not occur. The transferee obtains no rights under this article and has only the rights of a partial assignee. So negotiation means the transfer of possession, right? Whether voluntary or involuntary, right? Of an instrument by which the person other than the issuer to a person who thereby becomes its holder. So negotiation is whenever they send you an instrument. Whenever you receive an instrument from them and you receive it and accept it, you become the holder, not the obligor in the instrument that's responsible to make the payment, but you become the holder or the accommodator, accommodating the person in the instrument in which you have a relationship with, okay, which is your legal person. All right, so negotiation means a transfer of possession, whether it's voluntary or it's involuntary, right, of an instrument by the person other than the issuer, right, to a person who thereby becomes its holder, right? So that's the same thing. When you get a state ID, when you get a passport card, when you get any other card, if a cop forces you to issue documents issued to you by another one to him, then he becomes the holder of those documents and he gets to enforce those documents against you. Why? Because you issue documents from an issuer to another party and then he accepted those documents and enforce them. That's what we do every time we give our identification to them. Okay? except for negotiation by a remitter. If an instrument is payable to an identified person, negotiation requires transfer of possession of the instrument and its endorsement by the holder, right? If an instrument is payable to the bearer, it may be negotiated by transfer of possession alone. So if the instrument is payable to the bearer, it can be transferred by possession alone, right? It don't even have to be, I mean, y'all could even see what I was reading because I went to another spot, but I'm bad. But I'm finna get ready to get on up off of here, y'all. You know, I ain't want to be on here long. I just wanted to come on here and just drop a few jewels real quick, put some information out to the atmosphere, give you a little something to think about, understanding, because this really wasn't what I wanted to come and break down. I actually had some other information that I wanted to go over, but being that I couldn't find it, I just stepped and went into this right here just to kind of like, you know, give you something to go on because yeah, give you something to go on. But like I said, I will go back over. I'm just gonna go over this little piece right here real quick, and then I'm out of here. So an endorsement, it's a signature, but it's a signature other than that of a signer as the maker or the drawer or the acceptor. Okay? So the maker, the drawer, and the acceptor usually is a person that signs the front of an instrument in order to agree to make the payment, draw the payment, or accept payment on behalf of another, right? That alone, or accompanied by other words, is made on an instrument. So when an endorsement is made on an instrument, it is not usually made on the front. And if it is made on the front, it's not made as a maker, a drawer, or acceptor. It's made as a person processing payment. Okay, so usually when an endorsement is made, it's usually made to process payment, not to accept being liable. Okay, so that's the difference. So an endorsement, by other words, is made on an instrument for the purposes of negotiating the instrument. So endorsements are not made to become liable. That's what the maker, the drawer, and the acceptor does. When they sign and accept the liability, or they sign and become the drawer, the one promising to make the payments, or the maker, okay? That's usually when you sign a contract, okay? An endorsement is a different type of negotiation. Usually an endorsement is a way of paying or transferring a contract, okay? Or an obligation, right? Restricting payment of the instrument or incurring endorser's liability on the instrument. But regardless of the intent of the signer, the signature and any accompanying words is an endorsement unless the accompanying words, terms of the instrument placed of the signature or other circumstances unambiguously indicate that the signature was made for the purposes other than an endorsement. For, like, because you know, your signature don't have to be made for the purposes of endorsement. It can be made for the purposes of cancellation. Your signature can be made for the purposes of rescission. Your signature can be made for the purposes of termination, and so forth and so on, right? For the purposes of determining whether the signature is made on an instrument, a paper affixed to the instrument is part of the instrument. So if I take, if I want to make an endorsement on an instrument to negotiate it, to transfer it, to pay it, or anything, I can actually attach another paper to it. It doesn't say bond paper. It doesn't say security paper. It says another piece of paper. Okay, so for all you people that, you know, you do too much thinking, okay, Endorser means the person who makes an endorsement. So an endorser is somebody who makes an endorsement, simple and plain, for the purposes of determining whether a transferee of an instrument is a holder, right? An endorsement that transfers a security interest in an instrument is effective as an unqualified endorsement of the instrument. So if I was to endorse an instrument payable to a specific person for collection and payment of the balance due in the bill, then that would be an unqualified endorsement because it's payable to a specific. If an instrument is payable to the holder, right, under a name that is not the name of the holder, endorsement may be made by the holder, right, in the name stated in the instrument, or in the holder's name, or both. But signatures in both names may be required by the person paying or taking the instrument for value or collection. So, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about checks, money orders, or are we talking about instruments that you get to use and pay with? Oh man, it really, it take people time to come to a realization to believe the truth, and get past the lies, because there's so many lies. They trying their best to hold on to what they have, y'all. They lie every day. You go on the IRS website, they lie. You go on different parts of Treasury site, they lying. They knowing that the stuff is true, but a lot of people's application and the way that they explain the information is incorrect. So they dispute it and call it sovereign citizen garbage when they know that the stuff that they're talking about is true, but the concepts and the content and the way that it's being presented is incorrectly. It's just like going to court knowing what you're saying is true, but don't know proper procedures to apply the information. They beat you on procedural law. And that's how they beat most of us in court, is procedural law. Not by the fact that we don't know, it's that we don't know proper procedure. And then when we teach this information, we don't know the proper procedures and how it is made applicable. So we teach the procedural ways to use the information wrong. And then they call it sovereign citizen garbage. It ain't that it's garbage, because I can go in here and show you all day that you can, what you can and what you can't do, and what the law says you can't do that can't be rebutted at all. But I can also show you other places where they try to say, oh, that's sovereign citizen rhetoric. That's bullcrap. That's all that stuff is to discourage people. It's to discourage you, is to make you not believe. You don't see the Supreme Court coming out saying all this stuff and all that. You don't see federal judges coming out and saying all this stuff. All you see is people that run these media, these platforms, run the Google platforms, updating files, updating stuff because they have power to influence, and they're using it to their advantage through their business vocation, because they're doing it for business purposes. Okay, so they can easily distort some stuff or say, oh, sovereign citizen rhetoric, where they singling out people and saying that you're trying to act by yourself as a sovereign, saying you're not part of the state, you're not part of the country, and you're trying to be a sovereign person. So they came up with this sovereign citizen rhetoric, this bullcrap, in order to discourage people, in order to basically discriminate on people that's actually teaching people the truth about how the system truly works, and teaching people the truth about what it means to actually operate in a legal capacity. Understanding that bills are bills of credit. Bills are not, they're not supposed to bill you in the first place, because everything is supposed to be on credit. And when you get approved, you're getting approved for not just the principal amount, you're also getting approved for the credits, the principal and interest that's guaranteed by our government. So anybody that receives a principal loan from you with a due balance and don't pay you the balance that's due on the loan, they're withholding government funds from you, which is a violation of federal law. You can't do that. The gas company, the water company, the bank withholding deposits, the bank holding debit payments. You can't do that. Anything that I've been approved for, the government guarantees principal and interest. So if I'm not receiving interest on my debits, on my EFTs, or none of the things that I'm doing, that means somebody's violating my rights. Because the government has already approved that bank account, so I should be receiving not just the principal account, but the interest associated with it. Principal and interest guaranteed by the United States to any lender that approves you for any type of service. That's why every month you get a due balance. The due balance is the guaranteed interest by the government that you are entitled to receive for funding. I can't make it up. You hear me? And you got to learn these things, and you got to be able to stand in the truth and know what your rights are. Because if you don't, then you subject to do or be anything they tell you to do. You want to free yourself from work. You want to free yourself from bondage. Educate yourself. Stop disbelieving in the truth. Stop believing that everything is a lie. You know you live in a world that's full of sin, and you shaped by the iniquities of this world. So why are you thinking that you are taught right? You're not taught right. All these children coming up today see things that's wrong. They see 2 men being married, 2 women being married. You got children being raised in households that's dysfunctional. And they think it's right. Why? Because that's what they were raised. Don't necessarily make it right, yo. We were taught a lot of stuff that was wrong. Believe that. In education, they made sure that you didn't have the right education. They made sure you didn't learn about endorsements in school. Why we didn't learn about this stuff in school, about endorsements and signatures and instruments and negotiation? Why we didn't learn about our security interests and our rights? Why they didn't teach about person and individuals and consumers in reference to individual persons? Why they don't teach that? All right, let me show you something real quick before I go. Show you one more thing. Let me show you how. Why they don't teach this in school? Somebody help me understand, because I want to know why they don't teach this in school. Check it out. When I say I got, Brother Isaiah, I'm not playing with you. When I say I got tons of information over here, like I need to upload my library, you know what I'm saying, for everybody to see my library, what I got, you know what I'm saying? All the things that I've discovered, you know, I've learned so much stuff over the years where I can make it so simple and plain to where a child can understand what I'm saying. So they can know that what their rights is, right? Look, check it out. So when you say lender, a lender is somebody who engages in the business of lending money to consumers within the jurisdiction of the Federal Trade Commission. Now, we're going to stop right there. What is the jurisdiction of the Federal Trade Commission? I'm going to teach you something today. Because you don't know where you at, dude. The Federal Trade Commission has jurisdiction over consumer protections and competition laws in the United States, enabling it to prevent unfair methods of competition and deceptive practices in commerce. So commerce is the laws of the sea. So whenever you operate in commerce, you're in the Federal Trade Commission. You're in federal district. You know how Dorothy woke up in the Wizard of Oz and she was in Kansas, but Kansas wasn't Kansas no more? That's basically what we did. We woke up in the home state, but our home state became state of Missouri. Missouri became the state of Missouri. Illinois state became the state of Illinois. Texas state became the state of Texas. But if you look up Texas state right now, Texas state is still operational, but you also got the state of Texas, which is a DBA that Texas state is doing business under. Did you know each state is doing business under a DBA? Look, check it out. So federal, a lender only operates in federal territory. Okay, I'm trying to teach you because you got to know that you in federal jurisdiction. Okay, even though you at home, you in they overlaid it, so everything is overlaid in a federal territory, right? Now check it out. A retail installment seller is somebody who sells goods and services on a deferred basis to consumers, right? But he's within the jurisdiction of the Federal Trade Commission. He's in federal jurisdiction. Now look, a person. See, a person is an individual, a corporation, or other business organization. So when you're operating in your individual capacity as a taxpayer, you are an organization. You are that individual person that you're using as that's an organization name. That's why we call it your government, because that's your organization. That's your government organization. We all got a government organization. We all got our own organization that's liable for all our obligations to the government. Okay? Now, a consumer is a natural person who seeks or acquires goods or services or money for personal, family, or household use. So the person is his individual organization, which is also part of his identity, but he's also a natural man who's seeking goods and services through his individual. Okay, now look, I'm finna show you something. Now, an obligation is an agreement between a consumer and a lender concerning the person, right? But the agreement is between the consumer and the lender, right? Two living persons, right? Debt is money. See, debt is money. So every time you get a bill, that's money. That's money due to you. See, I can't make it up. I can't make it up. You just ain't earning what you're entitled to. You don't know how to earn your right to receive what's due to you, right? Money that is due or alleged to be due from one another. So he owes you a due balance. So he's billing you or notifying you of his obligation to you of the balances he owe you. But guess what you're not doing? You're not earning it. What I mean by earning, right beneath it, earning means compensation paid or payable to an individual for his or her account for personal services rendered or to be rendered by him or her. Wait a minute. Is this saying that you the service provider? Didn't I tell you was the service provider? You thought I was playing with you when I said that? I'm not playing with you. I told you who you was. You're the one providing the services. That's why every month you get a due balance. You just ain't earning your rights to it, right? Whether denominated as wages, salary, commission, bonus, or otherwise, including periodic payments pursuant to a pension, retirement, or disability program. So we're in disability program. The government bankrupt. They don't have no money. So we're in disability program. Stop playing with us. You know what I'm saying? Now let me show you something. Cosigner. This right here, cold-blooded right here. I can't make it up. Cosigner. Let me make it. Let me enlarge this for all you blind people. Y'all got. Oh man, these people always trying to get out of playing their debt. Trying to always come up with that. I hate when people come with this stuff, this straw man, all this stuff. Y'all, why don't y'all just go to work? Well, why don't y'all just pay y'all bills? Like, you know. My father worked 40 years, man. My father never begged for a dime. He never, and then, bro, these young punks get on here. They don't want to pay their bills. They don't want to, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's how y'all sound. Y'all sound foolish. You know, knowledge is wealth. Wealth is knowledge, right? Cosign, a natural person who renders himself or herself liable for the obligations of a U.S. person or a legal person without compensation. The term includes any person whose signature is requested as a condition to granting credit to his legal person or his U.S. person as a condition or the forbearance on the collection of the U.S. person's obligation that is in default, right? The term shall not include a spouse whose signature is requested on the credit obligation to perfect the security interest pursuant to state law. So when your wife come and sign for you, when they tell you you need a cosigner, you actually the only one who can co-sign for your taxpayer. Nobody else can co-sign for your taxpayer. You're the only one that can sign for that identity. Only you. Anybody else signing with you is signing to help you perfect your interest because your interest rate is not good for him to extend a loan to you. Understand the truth because you're learning the truth today. A person who does not receive goods, services, or money in return for a credit obligation, I can't make it up. I'm not lying to you. You got a credit obligation? Did you sign a contract? Did you sign some kind of credit obligation? Can you pull out a contract and it says credit obligation on it? Did you receive any goods for it? Matter of fact, did you give the bank a credit obligation where you were asking for credit for deposits? Are you receiving any services for what you gave the bank? Are you receiving anything in return for anything you do? If you do an EFT, do they overturn it and return it and say insufficient funds So the bank is not going to give you nothing in return for what you gave to it? So everything you do is insufficient of what it owes you, huh? Okay, we're going to think about that too. It does not receive compensation within the meaning of this definition. So if you didn't get no money, if you didn't get the services, if you can't use the debit card and get services from the bank, you ain't getting nothing for what you gave. You ain't getting nothing. That means that they ain't gave you nothing. You ain't getting nothing. You co-sign for another person's obligation and then get no benefits for helping that person make his obligation. A person is a co-signer. Look, I can't make it up. So go get your mama, your daddy, go get your cousin that think that he's smart as hell, that went to college, that try to tell you keep listening to them dudes on YouTube and Instagram. Them dudes don't know they hustle. Go get his smart ass now and tell him, come here, I got something for him. Ask him, can he read? It says right here. It says right here. A person is a co-signer within the meaning of this definition, whether or not he or she is designated as such on the credit agreement. He or she is a man or a woman. A debtor, an obligor is an account. When you heard the name debtor, obligor, defendant, inmate, that's a goddamn account. That is not a man or a woman. Understand what I'm saying? The co-signer is the man or the woman using that person that's wearing all them hats. Buyer, seller, leasee, renter. Okay? That's your person wearing them hats. You the co-signer. You're the one lending your name. See? Now look, this is brother I said, look, I'm Billy Jean Bad. I can't make it up. I'm Billy Jean Bad when it comes to this information. I ain't playing with you. Now you see what I'm showing you right here? Where it's saying that a man lends his signature? You know, now look, I'm finna show you this same thing in a whole different part of the code. Watch this. Watch this. This to show you that when you know what you know, you know what you know. Now watch this. The exact same thing that we just read about you being a co-signer, right? Now let me show you something else. Look, I can't make it up. This is the exact same thing. It's just being spoken in a different way. But it's talking about the exact same thing. An issuer with respects to what? A debt instrument, an obligation on. So an issuer with respects to an obligation on or a defense to a security. So either this is going to be your obligation on the security, or this is either going to be your defense to signing the security. So when you sign, either it makes you obligated, or either when you sign, it's your defense. It's all up to you, right? Now listen, it said issuer includes the person that places or authorizing the placing of his name on a security certificate, other than an authenticating trustee, registrar, transfer agent, or the like, to evidence a share, participation, or other interest in its property or in an enterprise, or to evidence its duty to perform an obligation represented by the security certificate. So what this means, it's telling you that when you sign a security, you are acquiring an interest. So when you open up a bank account and you sign a signature card or a credit union account and you become a member, you become a shareholder. You become a participant. You acquire interest. That's the reason why you should make a claim of ownership over the interest in the asset that the company is holding, because you are acquiring an interest. That's the whole reason why. So when you get the asset and you can take it in before a notary and acknowledge your interest in your rights to participate to receive a security interest against the lender's interest, meaning your interest is paramount. It came before the lender's interest, meaning first in line, first in time. but you don't know how to identify your interest in an agreement. You don't know when you sign something that you are acquiring an interest. You don't know that the due balances is the interest that you are supposed to be receiving. I can't make it up, man. I can't make it up. I can go on and 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 show you act after act, law after law, rule after rule, and every last thing I show you is going to add up to the same thing, and you're going to be like, God, damn, boy. Woo, on fire. But I got to go, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the live. If you like what I'm doing here, make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you want to learn more about anything that I'm teaching, get more into the topics, you want to learn more about processes, go to buildingbettermind.info. You can sign up with us there. We have many different things that we offer, memberships, mentorships, you get consultations. We have different programs that you could take, personal step-by-step courses you can take where you step yourself through how to process negotiable instruments, how to assert your rights on contracts, how to dispute billing errors. I got many different programs on the website that are set up for you to help teach you and guide you through each step. And at the end of each one, they give you forms to help you enforce your rights and everything. So I got a very beautiful program. We're in the process of modifying the program. I want to make this program more accessible for you guys to where I can teach you with a better way of teaching you to where you can learn on a more of a visual. So I'm doing some modifications. I'm going to change my style of teaching and the way that I'm teaching and things like that to give you more visual. I might pull out a board. I might start drawing and writing things down, showing you different visuals, showing you different things to help bring about a more of a clarity of an understanding. I might even have somebody enact out of part, like as if we're purchasing something, in order to give you an example of different things. We're going to do some modifications and some updates in order to make this platform more accessible for the people, because everything that we do is for you. And without you, it wouldn't be a Building Better Minds. You know, we got to have somebody to build better minds for. So we appreciate you guys, and we really love your support and everything that you do for us. We ask that you continue to support us and share our information out with many people, as you know, so other people become more aware of their rights and different tools and measures that they can use to fight back against an unjust, wicked, deceptive system. And with that said, I leave you as I always do: love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality for us all. You guys have a blessed, wonderful day. I'll catch y'all